Yo, it's Trent. Hope everyone's having a good day, good week. Make sure you subscribe, share, all that. And we got ranking all 32 NFL starting quarterbacks from the 2023-2024 season. I also threw in a couple extras because, of course, injuries happened early and there were some guys that you could count as starting quarterbacks because of how many games they played. So we'll throw in the extras at the end. But I ranked them by, just like the teams that go in order, alphabetical order. So like the Cardinals, Falcons are the top, Bears, and it goes down, okay? So it's kind of alphabetical by team, but not by player. So first we got Desmond Ridder. I gave him a D+ on the year, okay? I can't remember these guys' exact stats, but there's a reason I put, the certain grade. So if I can remember, I'll talk about it. But he threw 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He didn't do great. And it was his first year. You could blame it on Arthur Smith. He wasn't a great coach. I mean, you got to give Bijan Robinson the ball more, of course. But when you're a quarterback, you have to have more touchdowns than interceptions. That's like the basic rule of a quarterback, And to have the same amount and not too many passing yards. And I know that, they had Heineke in there for a little bit, so the yards vary for all the guys, because guys get hurt, new guys come in. Not everyone's going to have a 4,000-yard passing season, but he wasn't even close. For his games, he had low amounts, and his passer rating was pretty bad, so I got to give him a D+. Next, we got Kyler Murray, a solid C rating, okay? Because when he was injured to start the season, wasn't he? He didn't play for a while, but when he came back, the team was already, I won't say out of the playoffs, but you knew they were going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. You knew they were going to be bad, and he still played well. Like, not great. He definitely played better in previous years, but he still showed that he deserves to be starting quarterback. He put a great effort in. He loves his team. He played. He did good, right? So I'll give him a solid C there because he didn't do great, but he maintained his position. Lamar Jackson, an A-. Now, you may be asking, why not an A+? He didn't have an A+ kind of season. I gave one A+ here, and it wasn't Lamar, which is surprising. And you'd think, because he almost won MVP, or maybe he did. No, he didn't win MVP, but he was real close to it, or maybe he did. Now that I'm thinking about it, I watched the show live. I don't know why I can't think of who won. It's because a lot of people disagreed with who won and stuff. But either way, he had a great season. Pretty much A+, but the fact that a couple quarterbacks had better stats than him, you have to assume that, he wasn't at his all-the-way best. And they didn't win the Super Bowl, which we know they can. The Ravens, they're a solid team. They got Roquan, they got him. They have absolute beasts on that team. They can win a Super Bowl one day. So, A-, solid. Josh Allen, I gave a B+, okay? He could have definitely earned an A, and he also could have dropped lower, right? Because at the start of the season, he has this problem that I call a high school quarterback problem, right? He tries to do too much sometimes. Like, let's say that just a simple, slant play, right? Let's say one guy's running a 10-yard slant and one guy's going deep. The guy going deep's double covered, and the guy running the slant's just slightly covered, right? He's going to throw it deep every time, at least at the start of the season. That's all he did, remember? He would have guys semi-open in the middle of the field sidelines. He would not check it down. He would just lob that thing up like he's playing Madden, That's the only reason I gave him a B+, because they did make a good comeback, and he did have some very clutch moments. So, definitely good, but could have been better, could have been worse, B+. Next, we got Bryce Young, C-. Now, first of all, you can't give him hate because he got put into the worst position I've almost ever seen, right? Johnny Manziel and a couple of those Browns quarterbacks had it worse, but, to have Adam Thielen as your number one wide receiver says everything that it needs to say. Their defense was bad. Their offensive was bad, and he threw picks when he probably shouldn't have. If you watch, I physically watched not every game, obviously, but I watched every team play at least 2 or 3 times, so I'm not just talking out of my ass, you know what I'm saying? I watched these things happen, and he did do better than Ridder, but you know what I'm saying? He definitely needs to improve, but it was only year 1, so you can't be too harsh on him. Next, we got Justin Fields. As a Bears fan, you have no idea how badly I want to just let my fan side take over and just be like, he's going to be great. But I have to be realistic here. And this is probably still too high of a rating for everyone else watching. But I gave him a B- because he did get hurt like a lot of guys here. But he was on track for 3,500 passing yards and 900 rushing yards, which I saw a stat has never happened before in the NFL. So the fact that even while injured and not, let's say, you know how they said he was going to have the crazy third-year jump? He didn't have that. That's why, of course, he doesn't have a higher rating. But I could also see how someone gives him like a C-, but it's just how you look at it. I watched every single Bears game. So I saw the amount of effort, the amount of work he puts in. Not everybody sees that, And being a fan of the Bears, it's a little hard to decipher, like, what I should say versus what, I'm just a fan thinking. But I think a B- is a solid rating. The fact that a lot of teams want him, if the Bears don't keep him, has to be good, And next we got Joe Burrow. He would be an A if he played all season because he was playing great. But we all know what happened to Burrow, that nasty injury, sitting in the box and stuff. So we'll give him a B+. And I'm going to try to get through these a little quicker now because the rest are going to take forever. Next, we got Deshaun Watson. That's a D. That is a complete D, all right? We're not even talking about his creepiness with the ladies and the massage people, okay? That has nothing to do with football. But the past 2 seasons, for how much money he's getting paid too, he's done absolute shit. He's playing like Trubisky and getting paid like Josh Allen. It's crazy, right? Like, that is horrendous. And the only A+ of the day, right? And I know the NFL fans are not going to like this, but I'm throwing it out there because it is true. Dak Prescott, okay? He had an A+ quarterback season. If he was on any one of your teams, you would have fucking loved it. And I would have too. I don't agree with the Cowboys, America's team, as much as anybody, right? I'm glad when they lose in the playoffs. I won't lie. But also, Dak had a great year. He was a great teammate. He always was on the pressers talking about his teammates, when he was the one really making things happen. And I know he has wide receivers, he has running back, he has everything he needs, but that's why he deserves the rating, because he had an A+ season with like a B+ rating team, So good for him. A+ Dak Prescott. Next we got Jared Goff. As a Bears fan, I hate Jared Goff. I hate Jordan Love, and I don't hate Kirk Cousins because he's kind of a G. He's pretty cool, but I dislike him. I don't like these NFC North guys. But Jared Goff, I have to get an A. I think we all assumed he wasn't going to be that good. At least I did. I pictured him, in the Rams jersey. The Bears beat the Rams 2018. I've watched a lot of Jared Goff games, and he's never stood out to me, He's always kind of reminded me of, like he definitely is doable and good, but he just never was great. But he proved me wrong. He proved a lot of people wrong. Had great stats. Did good in clutch situations. Have to give him an A. Next, we got Russell Wilson. Fuck the Broncos. Okay, the Broncos did him so dirty, trying to get rid of his injury money stuff, whatever it was, the guaranteed injury contract, whatever it was. You know what I'm talking about. That's shitty of them. I don't respect Sean Payton at all because he just threw Russ under the bus. Russ is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Leave the guy alone. He's a G. Like, come on, guys. Yeah, he should have won 2 Super Bowls, but the coach called the wrong play. Like, he has done everything right, and people just shit on him, and he's made some great plays. I got to give him a B+ because he put his heart and soul into that team. He was a little weird last year with his sayings and stuff, but come on. It's Russ. Like, let Russ be Russ. Everybody loves the Jameis Winston eating a W, you know what I mean? So give the respect to Russ. He deserves it. B+. Another B+ right after Russell Wilson is Jordan Love. Now, I could have probably given him an A, but I'm never going to give a Packers quarterback an A. No thank you, right? But he probably deserves it. He had a great season. But there was at least 4 times in the year that I saw where he had someone open and he threw a pick. Like, some of his accuracy on certain throws has been off. So that's another reason he doesn't have an A. He definitely could have done a little better with the accuracy, but all the stats, all the having rookie receivers, a decent offensive line, but a lot of guys getting hurt, and to still go out there and perform over 4,000 yards, got to give him respect, got to give him the B+. Next, we got C.J. Stroud, A. Okay, just a straight A. No A-, no A+. He had a great rookie year. He was amazing. He blew everyone away. He did better than anyone expected. He proved the Ohio State quarterback thing wrong. He did everything no one thought he would do, and he was the best rookie quarterback. All respect goes to him. A. Especially with both his receivers, or one's a rookie. What was it? Tank Dell was the rookie. Nico Collins. The other guy was only there for a year. So you got to think about, these guys are still young, and they're making things happen. Good for him. A. Anthony Richardson. Now, I think if he played the full season, he'd have a B, A rating, but I have to give him a C because he had 2 really good games. One of them went to overtime, so that gives you extra time to get yards and stuff. You get what I'm saying? But that's not on him. He did have 2 good games, but he also had 2 shit games. He had like 60 yards passing and like 55 yards passing. Like, that's not acceptable. That's some, like, Fields has had games like that. Like, it's just not okay, you know? And I don't love him, but he is a good player. He runs a lot, you know? He brought the Colts. I saw for a while McAfee was hyped about him, you know? And he's an NFL player, or he was. You know, you got to respect that. You got to know that he'll be good eventually. I mean, he already was starting it, but you get what I'm saying. At first, remember, people thought he was better than Stroud. So, solid C. We'll see what he does next year. Next, we got Matthew Stafford, a B rating. He came back to Detroit. I really wanted him to win that game. He lost. That's why I'm not giving him an A. But he did bring his team to the playoffs. He did great. Not great, but he did decent, especially for being an older guy. Rookie receiver, Cooper Kupp. I mean, Cooper Kupp wasn't the rookie. Nakua was, obviously. But you get what I'm saying? He had a rookie who turned into an offensive rookie of the year almost. You know, Cooper Kupp coming back from injury. There's just a lot of ballers on that team. He provided the ball well, so I got to give him a B. Next, we got Trevor Lawrence, B-. Now, if it was just for the London games, I'd give him an A+, because he played his ass off, right? And with being hurt, I think he was hurt a little bit, wasn't he? He played decent. He did good. He definitely had his best year, I think, but maybe last year was better. But altogether, he did good. Throwing to decent receivers. He hasn't... I don't know how their offensive line is. I can't even talk about it because I really don't know how the Jaguars' offensive line is. But I think he did decent, B-. Next, people have been waiting for this one, I'm sure. Patrick Mahomes. Okay? A lot of people are going to expect an A+ because he's winning Super Bowls all the time, but I can't give that to him. I can't even give him an A, you know? I have to give him an A- because this was one of the worst years we've seen from him, especially at the start of the year. I mean, we all saw how many drops those receivers have. Kadarius Toney, all these guys dropping game-losing passes. Like, there were some bad plays that definitely hurt his rating. Not for me, but like his QB rating, like, altogether. So you have to take that into account. But he still brought his team back from when people were saying, hey, this is the worst year we've ever seen the Chiefs have. Like, is their dynasty over? I remember seeing that title, is the dynasty over? And they still won the Super Bowl, right? I mean, I know they brought out the Taylor Swift. You could think that's rigged, whatever, but you got to give it to Mahomes. He's a beast. He came through when it mattered. At the end of the season, he pushed his team. They won. Got to give him an A-. Next, we got Kirk Cousins, right? B+. If he didn't get injured, I'm sure it would have been an A. He was on an absolute tear. They won, like 4 in a row or 3 in a row with him? He was doing good. He looked cool. He was showing up with the chains. He's got the grills now. I mean, he's a G. He loves his teammates, loves his family. You saw him in the QB show with Mahomes and Mariota. You know, he's a G. He's a good guy. So, got to give him a B+. Can't even say anything negative about him. He had a nasty injury. Next, we got Derek Carr. Now, when I was looking at this list, I thought I would have given Derek Carr like a D or a C. But not going to lie, I'm going to give him a B, okay? Because he did not have a bad season. He didn't have a good season or great season, right? But he didn't do bad. He really did. He went to the Saints, you know, and he put in work. He did what he needed to do. He looked pretty drippy doing it, you know. He had some of those wristbands. Doesn't matter about that, though. But you get what I'm saying. You know, the team definitely could be better with the pieces they have. They have Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. Like, with them together, they should have a stacked offense. So that's why he's not having a higher rating. They need to get something going. But he definitely made it work. He's still a starting quarterback in the league. Give him a B. Now we're going to get to some sad ones, right? A little bit. Daniel Jones. Now, Daniel Jones, he's been receiving a lot of hate. He can't stay healthy. Now, I've never liked that argument for a guy when they say they can't stay healthy because literally there's a few injuries where it is your fault. Maybe you, like, overextend on a play or you do something you shouldn't have, but 90% of the time on an injury, it's not the person's fault. Like, that's literally just what happened. Like, he was just trying to run a play, and then, you know, someone steps on his ankle or his leg breaks or something. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't hate on guys for injuries because you really can't control that. I've gotten hurt playing football in high school. Like, you don't know someone's going to come give you a concussion. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. So, you can't get mad about injuries, but he did play like shit. He played like shit when he was in. He had like 9 interceptions, more interceptions than touchdowns after he's been in the league 2 or 3 years. He got all that money. No, that's ass. I wanted to give him an F, but just for the fact that he played a little bit, he didn't do horrible. I'll give him a D-. but it's the lowest rating. So if we're going to have an F, Daniel Jones is an F. D- or F, okay? Next, we got Aiden O'Connell. I know he didn't start as the starter, and we'll talk about Jimmy G. He's one of the extras, but Aiden played most of the season, O'Connell, whatever you want to call him. He played most of the season for the Raiders, so he counts as the starter. I'm going to give him a C-, right? Because he played pretty bad, not going to lie. He did not play good. But if I was a Raiders fan, right, and Jimmy G, you got to respect him because he did, he helped a lot of teams, but also he's on the down. He's going down. We all know this. He's not doing good. But for Aiden O'Connell to come in as a rookie, no one knows who he is, and to still play a little bit, like, he didn't ball out, but he definitely had games where he looked like a confident starter, So I got to give him a C- for at least trying. The Raiders is a rough team, especially with that coach stuff that was going on, and they still won a game by a lot, So good for him, C-. Next, we got Justin Herbert. If it was the past 2 seasons, I'd give him an A. A, right? He's been balling out this year. He dropped off, right? Now, you definitely have to blame Brandon Staley, the coach. That was an ass decision to hire him. I don't know why they did that. He had no credentials. I mean, he had a little bit, but not many. And his press conferences were so depressing, dude. He went up there and talked, and if I was a Chargers fan, I would want to punch him in the face. I just want to be like, we have all these guys. We have 2-star receivers. We have a running back who was at one point the number 1 fantasy guy. We have Herbert. You got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa on the defense. Like, get your fucking shit together and win. Got to give him a B- because he could have played better. But the coaching definitely hurt him. So B-. But Chargers, you deserve to win. Get your shit together. Tua Tagovailoa, got to give him an A. He should have been at least recommended in the comeback player of the year to take those nasty hits, okay? You got to have respect for him. He was laying there knocked out twice, right? Looking fucked up. He was laying there like, he was hurting. And he still was able to deliver that ball this year. I know you could say he's just lobbing it up to Tyreek and Waddle, but you got to be able to place that ball. Throwing it fast, throwing it hard, and being the only lefty in the league, it's impressive, okay? It reminds you of Tebow and Vic, so you love to see it. He's an Alabama boy. He was playing a while, he's good. And just to see what he's been through from college to the NFL and balling out, good for him. I appreciate him. A, give him an A. Next, we got Jalen Hurts. His previous seasons were better than this one. They still had a little bit of a playoff run. Didn't do great. Got to give him a B because, it's one of those where it's like, he can play better, but he also is still playing good. So, what can you do? Next, we got Mac Jones with a D-, okay? Now, Mac Jones has been receiving a lot of hate, and I don't think he deserves an F, okay? And when I think about his D- versus Daniel Jones fully deserves him. Now, Mac Jones, he deserves it because he played like shit, but also, I don't know, the coaches didn't help him out as much as they could have. They definitely could have helped him a little more. You have Bill Belichick. Now, I know he decided to retire, but I feel like if he had that same heart, same treatment he gave Brady, Mac Jones would have played a little better. So maybe I'll switch that to like a D for Mac Jones. But think about that. The Joneses, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, the only D-, both played shitty. Not the only D-, but you get what I'm saying? Why are the Joneses bad? Like, come on, man. Get your stuff together. That's not good. Now, Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson, I'm giving them the same exact grade, okay? A C-. Now, Rodgers, it's not his fault. He played like 3 plays, okay? But we don't know how his season would have been, so the average score's a C. Now, the reason I put C- for both of them is because Zach Wilson had the chance, and we saw it a little bit, but not too much. We saw it a little bit where he could have taken over and proven, like, hey, we don't even need Rodgers. Like, I'm the guy, right? After last year being rough, but he still had bad games. He still had awful games where they couldn't complete a pass in, like, the second half, right? Which is his fault. So I have to give him a C- because he did come in. He still gave fans a little bit of faith, but he didn't do enough. Could even give him a D, but we'll go with this C-. Next, we got Brock Purdy. I really want to give him an A+, but I'm giving him an A- here because they didn't win the Super Bowl, and they probably should have. They had an opportunity to. They started up 10-0. He made some mistakes, and that's the only reason he's not getting an A+. He had an absolute great season after last year, too, with his stats. Love him. He's a great player, but should have won the Super Bowl. A-. Geno Smith, got to give him a B. He resurrected his career so godly. Remember when he was on the Jets and stuff, and he was a career backup. No one wanted him on the team. No one thought about him. No one really cared about him. Then he goes to Seattle last year, balls out. This year, not as big balling out, but still balls out, okay? Geno Smith, B. Good for him. What a G. And he's throwing to Metcalf. You love to see it. Kenny Pickett, okay? Now, Kenny Pickett, they had Mason Rudolph, Trubisky. They played all the guys, right? As a team, and just for Pickett, for both of them, C-, just like Rodgers and Zach Wilson, right? Because they played pretty shitty, but there was also a few times that they made things happen. They still won games, you know. They still won, 8 or 9 games? Like, they did good, but you could see that they need a quarterback, like an established quarterback. And Pickett, I just don't think is that guy. But he still maintained a little bit. I mean, they're still talking about him being the starter, so, you know, what can you say? But he did get replaced for a while. So, yeah, C- is definitely fair. Now we'll go down the list. Will Levis, C+. Okay, to be a rookie and to make some of the plays he made. Remember when he threw the pick and then he stripped the ball back? Like, that's heart, okay? Now, he had a season pretty similar to Pickett when you think about stats. Like, they did pretty shitty. Like, Will Levis was not great in the stat game, right? But it's more than that. It's about how you run your team, how you care, you know? He definitely cares. He definitely gave it his all. But I still have to give him a C+, because there were times they could have won the game that he didn't, right? And we're on the last two. Baker Mayfield, A, right? I would give him an A+, but he took over Brady's team, which is, I don't want to say easy, because being a quarterback for any team is not easy, right? But that's one of the easiest situations you can get, is Brady's stacked team given to you, you know? But he balled out. Last year he had, 700 passing yards, and this year he had over 4,000. Like, good for him. Love to see him have a comeback like that, but he also had a nice team to play with. So, you get what I'm saying? Got to give him an A, but that's the reason he's not a Dak Prescott A+, right? Because, you know, he had a pretty stacked team. Next, lastly, we have Sam Howell. Now, I'm going to give him a B-. He could definitely have a C-. He could definitely have, a B, right? It's however you look at it. Now, they started off really bad, and he was however many touchdowns he threw, that's how many picks he threw. He had 18 and 18 or something like that. He has to bring down the interceptions if he wants to remain a starter. If he doesn't, he'll be a backup, right? But he'll be a good backup. So say what you want. I'm going to give him a B- because the situation was not nice. The owners were not nice. Everybody was kind of shit-talking him, and he still managed to play a little bit. So I'm going to give him a B-, but you could give a C- or a B. You know, I'm not arguing that. So now let's go to the extras, right? There's just 1, 2, 3, 4 guys to mention that played a little bit, but maybe not as much as a starter. Jimmy G, we have to give a D-, because the fact that Aiden O'Connell did better than him, I know he got injured, but still, to start the season, he was healthy. And for Aiden O'Connell to do better than you in that aspect is just sad when you were behind Brady for years, had many starting positions, chances. So I got to give him a D-. Bailey Zappi, I'm going to give a D. No one ever expected him to be a starter, but yet he still tried his ass off. You know, the coach respected him, but there were some plays where he looked like a fourth string. He looked like ass, so I got to give him a D for that. Next, we got Ryan Tannehill for an extra D+, okay? I think he also played shitty, but out of Bailey Zappi, Jimmy G, and him, he was the best one, but they all played crappy, all in the same tier there. So we'll give him a D+. And finally, for the extras, you know who we got to talk about. Old man Joe Flacco. If he would have done what people expected, not expected, but when he started winning, I think we all kind of hoped that he would go on a win streak like the Browns would, and he would just take them, you know, maybe not to the show, but high up there, which he didn't. You know, he did a little bit, one round, but that's why I'm giving him a B and not an A, because he could have brought him all the way, but there was a few picks in there that he didn't need to have, especially against the Bears, okay? So I'm giving him a B. But those are your QB 2023-2024 ratings. I had them all written down. I didn't lie about a single one, I promise. That's ketchup, not blood, I promise also. I was eating a cheeseburger when I was writing this. So, thanks for watching. Please make sure you subscribe. The Combine's on, so if there's anything happening there, I'll give some updates. But thank you for watching. Be safe. If you ever need anything, my Instagram's in my YouTube bio. You can hit me up. You can DM me. I'll always answer. I got you. Thanks for watching. Be safe and peace out. Go Bears. And what am I finally going to say? Justin Fields next year, if he's on the Bears, which I hope he is, he probably won't be, he'll have an A+. Okay, peace out.